Um, hey, everybody. My name is Arum Rae. I am a singer-songwriter from New York. I moved to Green Bay a little bit ago, and I happen to be sitting in Green Bay with none other than Jim Greene. We're in his studio / band space / distribution center of WGNR and August Haven, which I find fascinating. So if you wouldn't mind, the first thing that I totally am dying to ask you is, who thinks of putting a band space in their corporate office? And how did you, I guess, find the freedom to let yourself do that?
It's admittedly strange. I guess when you're conflicted between making a living and being a closet musician or wannabe artist, you do things like that. So that's kind of how I got to being here. And I think, you know, when I empathize, what I would want working for somebody would be a sense of humanness and vulnerability. So hopefully when people see it, they can identify with the fact that Jim is just a normal person who has hobbies. And ironically, what we do here at WGNR in August Haven has a lot of parallels to art, and I think left brain, right brain functioning is really important in retail.
For sure.
So it's not totally unrelated, but it catches people off guard, which I think isn't necessarily a bad thing. But the reality is my wife got really, really sick of us practicing at our house, and I have 2 little girls, and they would be trying to go to sleep, and you know, the guys would come through the house inevitably, which there's really no other option. And like most, you know, amateur musicians, we would jam once a week, and I tried to soundproof the room, and it just seemed like a really good idea when we were doing a remodel here to put band space in our group area. So it's part, it's really selfish.
I think it's awesome. I mean, it's really cool and probably inspiring for other people that do work here. I mean, well, you play with several guys that do work here.
I do.
So
yeah.
They finish up their day and then they meet here on Wednesday night.
We have a
blast.
I know it. Yeah. My buddy David Richards, actually, his ad agency does a lot of stuff for us. He's really good at video and a number of things, and while we have our own production facilities, he does some really cool stuff from us. And so when we were building, they were looking to switch spaces. They came here, so David's in the band, not because of that, but that happened after. So David and I are really close friends, and then Matt and I work together. He's played bass and now plays guitar. And then actually our drummer, Jeremy, is married to our HR director. So there's a lot of connections to work, but by the same token, that doesn't really define the band relationship. So.
Oh yeah. So how long has this room been here, I guess?
Well, we did the remodel about 3 years ago, so it's been here for about 3 years, and it's you know, so I guess you start kind of taking it for granted, but yeah, 3 years.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And do you write music all the time?
Parts of songs up until now, and stuff started coming together, and it's kind of a journey. I'm a huge John Hyatt fan, and I can identify with one of his analogies. He said writing a song is kind of like catching a fish.
Yep. You
don't really know how it happened, but when, you know, you got to put your bobber out there for it to happen. So I'm trying to make more time for that.
Yeah.
I gave up a few other things I was experimenting with, playing golf and hunting and different stuff like that. And I just really don't do any of that other than
passion.
No,
brothers.
so
yeah.
I consolidated my focus to being an amateur musician, full-time dad and full-time CEO, and try to do some boating with the family and ski with the family and try to stay in reasonable shape, and that's about it.
That sounds like a quality of life.
It's not bad.
Well, so the reason why we're here is Jim wrote a song, and I don't know how far down your catalog this song came, or if it's your first full song. To me, it's an insanely beautiful and brilliant song called The Finer Things With You. Tell us where that came from,
Well, first, thanks for the kind words.
Oh.
You're a talented musician. So.
Well, also I got to sing on it, and I don't think I would have been able to do it if I didn't resonate with it myself. So that's yeah.
Well, you know, like you write songs, so you can probably identify it. You have a lot of unwritten songs or partially written songs that come together, and in this instance, I have a lot on my mind. And I'm always tired at the end of the day, so I can fall asleep, but I don't always stay asleep. So in this particular morning, I woke up and kind of in that dream, not totally awake state, but kind of dream state. And the song kind of was coming together in my head. And I have a studio similar to this, not a full performance studio, but a practice space above my garage, where my band used to practice. So when I have insomnia, that's where I retreat to and try to, you know, write songs or just practice. And so in this instance, I went up and got the song to where you first saw it. So I wrote, I had some verses kind of, but the hook or finer things with you in the chorus came that morning, and then it just connected the pieces. And for me, you know, I'm really deliberate about what I do, and when I have want to live life fully and leave maximum impact, realize my potential.
Right.
And at work, I try to help people realize their potential, and it's really, really important to me. And I think about it a lot, and I think about the fact that time's getting shorter. So I just had my 50th birthday, and it's a pretty big deal. Really, the anticipation's bigger than having your 50th birthday.
I can imagine.
But yeah, you realize, you know, the things you do with the people you love, your time's not forever.
Right.
So, you know, and so the song's about the day-to-day grind and some of the resentment you have grinding it out, but it's all really for those moments with the people you care about, those magical moments that don't happen all the time. And the song's really about pursuing those moments. And so that's what the song's about. And it seemed to have some relatability to what we were doing here, particularly with August Haven. So with August Haven, we're trying to help people make sure their space is a reflection of their interests, aspirations, and experiences, and isn't confined by specific design genres, and represents kind of who they are. So the song's about contentment, and at August Haven, we're trying to help people build a space in their house or their home or whatever they call home, where they feel content, and have an opportunity for those moments. So it was relatable, but that wasn't the intent of the song.
Well, I think as far as I know, it was parallel with you really trying to describe your vision of why you brought August Haven, why you birthed August Haven, if you will, and what it means to you to have these kind of artistic, more expressionist, personalized pieces, and why you would even think that someone needs that, and why you yourself would need that.
Yeah.
It helps you express your most personal space, which would be in your home. And
yeah, it's funny. You know, growing up in the Midwest, I grew up in a really pragmatic household. But I was fortunate to have some exposure to some people, one person specifically, who really expanded my horizons and had a big impact on my right brain development, my more creative side. And so, you know, it was interesting how the needs of the company in terms of growth options in the future evolved in a market where there's a lake on one side of us, not a lot of population to the north, not a lot of population in central Wisconsin. So we really want to serve as many people as we can. And it occurred to me that, you know, not everybody's really pragmatic, and WGNR as a brand is really about the value equation, where August Haven's really about quality of life. So, you know,
expression.
It is, and creative expression about who you are in the space and what makes you content in a space. So, you know, you can buy a sofa at WGNR if you want a practical solution for very inexpensively. And so when you look at, you know, why you'd spend more on something, it's because it's part of a composition in a space that makes you feel a certain way and gives you a certain level of contentment, really for those moments that you strive for to enjoy with people you care about. So it's about, you know, creating a space you feel content in. And for me, contentment is really a synonym to happiness. So, you know, I saw a quote from Tony Robbins, who I'm not, you know, I've never seen him speak or anything like that, but it struck me, and the quote basically said, your happiness is the aggregate sum of your state of mind over time. And, you know, we all want to have a sense of contentment and fulfillment. And that song is about the pursuit of that sense of contentment and fulfillment. What we're trying to do at August Haven is try to create environments where people are more likely to feel that sense of contentment and fulfillment. Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. And it's funny, I actually asked you to participate in executing the song and consider being a part of the project. And I'm so glad you did. Do you want to tell the story about how that rolled out?
Yeah, I think I played a concert, and and then we started talking that way, and just kind of commiserating on our shared love for music, and that you were like, now I remember, you were like, oh, I wrote this song, like it would be so cool if you came over and sang it with us. And I only knew you as like the CEO of this company, and so I was like, great, yes, I'll be there. And then thought, you know, what am I walking into?
Sure.
Because it could have been a metal band or a rock band or like just something, you know, that I wouldn't know how to kind of contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we came, and I think I hear a lot of different styles with your influences that I really related to, like Mark Knopfler, Eric Clapton, or J.J. Cale I kept bringing up. And so then I was like, oh, I know, I feel like I know what to do here.
Yeah.
And that's the only way that I think it works.
I think I told you it was in major 7th key, and that then you're like, okay, well maybe I'll listen.
Well, then I was like, oh, well, I write a lot of songs in major 7th, it's so great.
Yeah.
So it was effortless, and when things happen so easy like that, then you know it's right. I feel like it has like a, you know, some magic dust on it.
Yeah.
Or, so then we rehearsed it, and then did you know at that time that you wanted it to be for August Haven?
No, I mean, when what happened was when I wrote the song, it was concurrent to a lot of self-reflection in terms of getting better at articulating what I was trying to do with the brand, because it's really hard for people who work on the brand to work on it with like digital media and stuff that's real time without me doing a good job of articulating the vision. And I don't think I've done a great job of doing that. And so I was reading a lot about lifestyle branding and different things, and had a heavy travel schedule, which allowed me a lot of time for reflection. And so I wrote that song during that time period, because when I read this book on lifestyle branding, it talked about the background story. So I really started digging deep in terms of, why do I do this? I mean, you know, when you launch a brand, it's not initially profitable, and there's a lot of, you know, effort. And I have other successful things we're doing with the Mattress Factory and with WGNR. So it kind of begs the question, why would you endeavor to do that and then try to see it through?
Yeah.
And so I was thinking a lot about that, and I was thinking back about Roger, this guy was a huge part of my life. He was dating my aunt, and they weren't particularly similar in their tastes and what they like to do, but my aunt had gone through a divorce, and all of a sudden this guy became a fixture at family gatherings, and he was really fascinating to me because in this part of the country, you essentially have very pragmatic people who, and that's how I was raised, you know, just really practical. And furniture was really for functionality. I didn't go to, you know, see art. I didn't go to see musical performances. But I loved music as a kid. And all of a sudden this guy comes into my life and he took an interest in us. He didn't have kids of his own. He moved here from Massachusetts to take a professor gig at UWGB, and he was a political science professor, but he was also a master in yoga. He was a designer, really well read. Yeah, and loved art, loved the finer things in life. And so Roger kind of exposed me to those things. So that song somewhat have been a nod to him. In contrast, my dad, I have the utmost respect for, and is a super practical guy. And so I don't mean to imply that one's better than the other when you look at, you know, but it's kind of interesting because August Haven kind of reflects what Roger taught me, and WGNR kind of reflects what my dad taught me. And it's unified by common values in terms of trying to create win-win relationships, trying to you know, do the right thing and help people realize their potential. And in this whole process, I've really grown as a person, and it's been a really fun journey. But it's kind of cool that I get to weave my love of music and my creative interests into what I do. So in that way, retail is really fulfilling for me.
Yeah, and I can imagine that this is an outlet, and then probably once you do music so much, the business side might be an outlet.
It is.
Like they balance each other and feed each other.
They do. I mean, it's not as unrelated as people might think. I know.
Exactly.
Yeah. People think the quickest way from A to B is a straight line, and that's true in, you know, accounting, and that's true in.
I kind of feel like it's true of no one.
Yeah, you might be right.
The reason why I get advocate on that is because, especially playing shows in a place like New York, a lot of people that come are from the financial industry. That's
interesting. And want their fix.
Yeah, I really think that everybody has the both left and right, and we strengthen the one muscle, but I don't think that means the other doesn't exist or the craving isn't there.
Well, ironically, I mean, music is really about math. I mean, when you look at the chromatic scale and the octaves and how it all interrelates, but to your point, right brain and left brain functioning has some commonalities that are very real.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like the classic. I think that really describes you. If
conflicted?
I'm right. Not at all. No, balanced might be the better word.
That's nice of you to say. Yeah, I don't always feel balanced. You know, I mean, I'm definitely time starved and it's self-induced, but I'm really passionate about what I do, and I really enjoy the people I work with, and it's super fulfilling. I'm glad I got to know you, and obviously we share the common friend in Chris Manglis, who, you know, I knew you'd be cool because you two are hanging out. So when we talked about the song, it was at 335, and I mean that was really cool. And I think it was only because all the glasses of wine Chris poured me that I had the courage to say, "Hey, do you want to come sing on this song I wrote?"
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
No, it's all worked out.
Yeah, and you're so humble. I mean, you really brought that song to life. So, you know, for me, it's important, you know, in the creative process to realize, just like work, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you really made that song what it is with your delivery, which is really brilliant, and you're a talented person, and I feel lucky to have gotten to know you through Chris, and Chris is a talented guy too with how he runs his business, and I think the commonality is an eye for detail, and Chris is probably the best at eliminating non-quality signals of anyone I know, which has always been a mantra of mine. To me, that's the definition of quality, or certainly the foundation of it. So. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, it's my pleasure also to be here, so thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
Thank you.